Good evening and welcome everyone to the End Zone Pass Plays at Boundary Lines session for the 2020. And like Brandon said last time, we are the virus-free virtual clinic. Just some administrative stuff to talk about first. We know there's some people who are not receiving emails from us. So we've gone through a little bit of a different process. Let me try to share my screen. And show you what the schedule page looks like now. Okay, so the schedule page now includes the sign up link and the link to the reference materials for each session. So basically the schedule link on our web page is now the central hub for everything. The past sessions, we will have the links to the replays, both the YouTube and the webinar jam. So if you've already signed up for a session, we have your email address and you will get blasted reminder emails and sign up emails for each of the sessions. Also, if you click the sign up now button here on the schedule page, there's that sends you into Webinar Jam, and there's an option to subscribe to all future sessions. So that's just a little something that we've changed a little bit. The response has been tremendous, and we're making changes to make this process a little bit smoother and a little better for everyone. We will make sure that we reach as many people as wants to participate. Okay, go back into our presentation here. My presentation disappeared. All right, let me try this again. All right, there we go. And let's also administratively, if you look at the top of the chat screen, I need to make sure I mention there is a disclaimer there. Just read the disclaimer. This information that every presenter is putting together is information that they've developed and is not official guidance. Okay, so we're going to talk today about end zone pass plays at the boundary lines. These plays can be very complicated and very complex, and there's many levels that could potentially come into play, many rules that could come into play. As we saw on Sunday when we did our rules session, we had a very tight play at the pylon. And that's the type of thing that we're going to be talking about today. Many of these plays, sometimes it requires communication, both verbal and nonverbal, with some other officials to make sure that we get this thing right. So without further ado, we're going to look at an introductory play. And I'm going to throw a poll up there. There you go. Vote on that. What is the result of this play? And the votes are coming in. And surprisingly, everybody voted touchdown. I'm going to go ahead on and end the poll. All right, let's look at another play. Play the video. And you're going to see that play. Now let's get a little vote going on this play. What's the result of that play? Here comes our votes. Here comes our votes. All right, we're getting ready to end the poll in a little bit. We still got votes coming in. I'll hold it open for a little while longer. That play was a little different, right? That play was a little bit different. We'll end the poll. And let's go back to our slideshow. So we're talking about information that we need to process when we look at plays like that. And on play one, what do we need to process? Did he catch the ball? That's really the only thing that there was to process. That was one of the easiest plays. These two plays are on the opposite end of the spectrum when we deal with end zone pass plays. The next play, play two. Should I move off the goal line? You know, we got all kind of other information that we need to do. What about the defender? What is he doing? What about the receiver? What's going on with the receiver? Oh, what about, wait a minute, did he get his foot down? Whoa, what about, did he maintain possession of the ball? What? Oh, Lord, the defender has the ball. I thought the receiver had the ball. Okay, well, maybe he finished the catch before the defender. You know, we got all kind of things that are going through our head while that play is finishing up. All kind of things we got to consider. And I put this last item in blue. Why? Because that's a rule. I want to make that a little different color to show that is a rule reference. So if we get to the point where our eyes have delivered information to our brain and we're trying to process what we just saw, and then all of a sudden we get thrown into a loop and have to start thinking about what is the rule? Well, now we're really in trouble. And then we end up just having no idea what the hell is going on. So what are some things that we can do to process a play that would help us make it easier? And I don't want to say easy because none of these plays are easy, but maybe make them easier. So I came up with, as I was thinking about putting this presentation together, I came up with a concept, and I want to share the concept that I came up with. 3 distinct phases to a pass play process. First phase, the anticipation phase. What is it? And you know, when we anticipate, we're getting ready for something. So we're getting ready, we're anticipating, here it comes. Next phase, the catch phase. This is the meat. This is where everything is. This is what we're talking about. What is a catch? Remember, we talked on Sunday about what is a catch. Could be complicated, could be simple. You saw play 1, very simple. Play 2, not so simple. And then phase 3 is the decision phase. And I like the word decision. I have no idea what the root word is, but that's very similar to decisive. And if we looked at the video that was posted with the analysis of the play, the covering official in that play was very decisive. So I like the word decision, the decision phase. Now, what are we doing in these 3 phases? What do these 3 phases mean to me? So phase 1, where is the ball? Sometimes we have an opportunity out our peripheral vision to pick up the direction of the ball. Is it long? Is it short? Is it wide? Is it flat pass? Is it a high pass? And what does that do? That helps us understand where we need to move. It also helps us understand what's going to happen with the players. If the pass is short and a defender is not playing the ball and the receiver is on top of him, and when I say on top, I mean he's further downfield, he's beyond the defender, and the pass is short, we can start thinking, oh, the receiver's going to have to come back to the ball. Defender doesn't know where the ball is. We might have some DPI action. And then it also can help us understand where are the receivers going to go when this ball goes. Are the receivers going to the back pylon? Are they stopping at the end zone? They at the front pylon? Is it going to take them out of bounds? Is it going to take them to the sideline, the end line? You know, so the anticipation phase, we start putting all of that stuff together and getting ready for the catch. When we get to the catch, if we're at a boundary line, immediately we got to go to the feet. If we don't go to the feet, we're going to miss very important information that really can just cancel out the rest of everything else that happens on the play. And really this pass play process evaluation concept, I think is applicable to a pass play at any point in the field. But today we're talking about end zone pass plays, and it's a lot more complicated. But this process probably can apply to anywhere on the field. But this is specifically we're discussing and zone pass plays at the boundary line. So that's why we got that work in the feet part in there. Then we got to talk about the process of the catch. And again, we talked about that on Sunday. We looked at what the definition of a catch is. And if we're in the middle of trying to figure out, dang, did his foot get down? Did he juggle the ball? Did he hold on to the ball? And then we got to stop and think, okay, well, what is the rule for a catch? Well, now we're in trouble. So we need to get that rule clarified before we get onto the field. Because the more we can clear up our mind, and that's the more room in our brain we have to process what we actually saw. So then we got the decision phase. What are we doing in the decision phase? We putting everything that we've already seen, we're putting it together. Did you have OPI or DPI? You already know where you're going to be moving. You kind of know where the ball is. You saw what happened with the players. You saw if he had his feet in bounds or he didn't have his feet in bounds. You saw, did he have firm control of the ball? Did he not have firm control of the ball? So we're putting it all together. And then sometimes we're not going to have all of the information. So now what do we do now? Okay, so we need to talk about that and think about that as well. And then finally, after we do use all of our brain power, now we got to put our body to work, and we got to do something. We got to make a signal. It's something. We can't just stand there. We got to give an incomplete signal. We got to give a touchdown signal. We got to give some kind of signal. Okay, so that's kind of like the three phases as I see of a pass play process. Now, if we're in the middle of phase 2 and we start thinking about something that happened in phase 1, well, we are in trouble. We've lost. So we need to figure out everything that happens in phase 1, finish with it, put it somewhere in our brain to store it away to bring it back to us in phase 3. We can't be still be thinking about pass interference while we're looking at the feet or while we're trying to find the feet, because we're going to miss something. Let's look at a play. Enough of my yip yapping. Nobody wants to hear me yip yap all day long. Okay, let's look at a play. So in this play, what I'm going to do, play the video. We're going to look at a pass play. Oh, shoot. Come on, video. Don't do that to me. And this angle, it gives us a very good angle to kind of see what the covering official sees. So all right, let me go to my still slide because it's not working here. All right. So when we start a play, we start looking here in this play. This kind of gives an idea of where the side judge is, the perspective of the side judge. What we see is a player in press. And when we say press, what that means is the player can be touched if he reaches out, if the defender reaches out and to the receiver. So if this defender can reach out and touch this receiver, what we're saying is that he's pressed. So when he's pressed, what do we need to do? We need to stay here. All of our focus needs to be right here. We can't afford to cheat in and look towards the middle to see what's coming, because we're going to miss something on the receiver. And you can notice here from this perspective, we kind of have an idea of where the quarterback is. Here's the quarterback right here. So we may be able to see him out the corner of our eye. And when we talked about that trajectory situation in phase 1, that's where our focus is here on the cornerback and the receiver. But out the corner of our eye, we probably can pick up what's going on with the pass, if the pass is coming our way, if it's not coming our way. So yeah, so and I wish my video was cooperating with me. Let's clear this off the screen. This is the phase one. And now what we see as the play progresses, we see this action. So what are we thinking here? We're thinking of potential for pass interference on the defense, right? We see the receiver has his hands going up in the air, so he can't be interfering with the offense. So we're thinking pass interference, maybe DPI at this point in time, because we got a defender who has his hands in the receiver's chest. Is he going to push him? Is he not going to push him? So we're getting ready. We're still getting ready. We haven't quite gotten to the point where we've gotten to that phase 2 point where we're at the catch. We're still processing the phase 1 action. Let's see if I can move on to the phase 2, and it's going to go pretty quickly. Boom. At that point, go back to my slides, and I know that went fast. At that point, we're now in phase 2. The ball is here. If we're still at this point in time processing, man, did he grab his hand? Did he push him? Did he do any of that? What's going to happen is we're not going to be able to effectively work phase 2. And we talking about boundary lines, right? Look where this dude, where the receiver's right foot is. Very close to the boundary line. Remember we talked about trajectory? Which way did the pass come from? Came from this way. How deep was the pass coming? Is it pushing the receiver to the line, to the sideline? Is it pushing the receiver towards the end line? Well, in this situation, as we can see, it's kind of pushing the receiver towards the sideline. So we know at this point in time that we got a pretty important line coming right here. If we're still processing phase 1, and I know I'm repeating myself, we're not going to be able to effectively work phase 2. Now let's get to the video, see if I can push it forward for you. Boom. See how quick that goes? If we're still thinking about something else, what we're going to miss is that the left foot hit inbounds probably a quarter second before the right foot hit out of bounds. And then we got a good view from Pylon Cam that pretty well shows it. So if we go back to the slides, this is what we really should be seeing on the field if we're working this play correctly. If we're not working this play correctly, we probably are not going to see this. So let's move on. Let's move on. Oh, I got a poll to ask people. I got a poll. No, first let's look at this video first. No, we're gonna do the poll. We're gonna do the poll. I lied. So in the next video that we're about to watch, I'm going to play the video first because I don't want you to cheat on this test. Then I'm gonna ask you a question about the video. That's not the video we're supposed to be playing, sir. I'm gonna have to find my video, man. All right. All right. Let's go to the polls, and we're going to start the poll. Did the receiver switch the ball during the process of the catch? So that's the question that we're asking based on the last video that we saw. Did the receiver switch the ball during the process of the catch? And here comes the votes. Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. We're going to love this. We're going to love this. I'm about to end the poll, and you'll get to see the results. Dead split 3 ways, pretty much. Some people said no. Some people said yes. The ball went into his right arm and came out in his left arm. The other people said yes, it went to his left arm and came out his right arm. That's interesting. We know it can't be all 3 of those, right? So let's take a look again. And I thought I had the entire play queued up. I don't, apparently. So excuse me for that. So here we go. Boom. Into his right arm. He goes to the ground. Let's see if, why is our video? Oh, this is the video that keeps rewinding for whatever reason. Okay, the ball goes into his right arm. He's going to go to the ground. Check that out. Look at it. Now the ball is in his left arm. Why is that important? We need to have as much information as possible when we're trying to process these very difficult plays. So what ended up happening is the receiver got his foot down, as we saw, his left foot touched inbounds before his right foot, and then he switched the ball. And would you say that he had firm possession? I would not say that he had firm possession when that ball first went in. I'm going to play the ball switch video again. Would you say that that's firm possession that he has right there initially? I would say no. The ball looks to be a little loose to me. So he does not have firm possession, but he did have his left foot down in bounds. And then his right foot came down out of bounds. And then he switched the ball. And now he has firm possession in his left hand. So I'm going to ask a question of our viewing audience here. And this is what I originally wanted to ask before my video man just messed me up and start throwing up all kind of plays that I didn't want to see. And we're going to talk about signals here. If the side judge evaluates this play correctly, what signal should he give? So we talked, the left foot came down inbounds. The right foot came down out of bounds after it was inbounds. And then the ball appeared to move and then firmly was controlled after the receiver was out of bounds. All right, here comes the votes. Getting ready to end the poll. And there we go. We can see the results of the poll. So we said we want to talk about signals. Why are signals important? Signals are important because it helps our partner officials understand what judgment we just finished making. It also helps the replay officials understand what judgment we made. So let's talk about it. The juggle signal. Incomplete, obviously, we're going to give an incomplete signal because this pass was incomplete. So we're going to give the incomplete signal. And the juggle signal, what that means is the first body part of the player to touch was in bounds, but he did not gain and maintain firm control until he was out of bounds. Okay, I know that's a little maybe a little complicated what I said. Basically, I got my foot down in bounds, but then I wasn't finished actually gaining firm control of the ball until I got out of bounds. So that's what the juggle signal means. So then we have the other signal, the swipe signal. What that means is the player gained and maintained firm control of the ball, but the first body part to touch was out of bounds. And that's not what happened on this play. What happened on this play, he got a body part in bounds, but then he did not gain and maintain firm control of the ball until he was out of bounds. So the correct and appropriate signal, if we were working this play correctly, would be to give an incomplete signal and then give a juggle signal. All right, let's go to the next play, play 2. And I know most of us have already viewed these plays online, but just for those of us who haven't, we got a pass to the back pylon. Oh, Lord. Jeez. What happened there? Woo. That's a tough call, right? That is a tough call. We're going to see another view of it. Another view of it. Ooh, that's really tight. So now I'm going to show another video. This is not one that I posted online, but this is the coach's tape because we're talking about signals. Remember, we just finished talking about signals, what a swipe signal means, what a juggle signal means. And here we go. Watch the side judge at the back of the inline, incomplete swipe. So he's communicating something to everybody. He's communicating that the player's foot was out of bounds. Okay. Now, let's pull up a poll. Let's pull up a poll. Let's pull up a poll. So, and in this play, and I'm gonna publish the poll and let you start voting, but I'm also going to put the video back up while we're voting. In this play, the receiver clearly demonstrated firm control. Clearly. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that the side judge gave the incomplete juggle signal. That's what we're going to pretend. He didn't do that. Obviously, he gave the swipe signal. What should the headline judge do? All right, this is a landslide and good. So for the 8% of us who said, well, actually, he should bring information to get the call right. 91% of us said that, and 8% said he should not bring any information. Well, let's go back and look. Let's see. We need to watch the video again. And what I want you all to do is put yourself in the head linesman's position. And I want you to tell me if the head linesman has any real good view of the ball. So there's one view, and we're going to get another view, of course. I want you to tell me if the head linesman has any real good view of the ball. Headline judge, I'm sorry. And we have another view coming up. So that ball, what the headline judge is looking at is the receiver's back. There is absolutely no way he knows if that ball was juggled, if that ball was firmly controlled. He doesn't know any of that. So if the side judge gave an incomplete and juggle signal, there is really not much that the head linesman can offer at that point in time. And if the head linesman comes over and tries to offer something, if I was a side judge in that situation, I would tell him thanks, but no thanks. Because if we look at the video, and we'll look again, and this may sound like something that, whoa, this is kind of weird. I thought we were supposed to get the play right every time. Yeah, we are supposed to get the play right, but we're also supposed to offer helpful information. If you look, the headline judge has no good view of that ball. The only person who really can see that ball is the side judge and potentially the back judge. So the important thing here to know is, where is my information coming from and who can offer valuable information for us to get the play right? All right, I'm going to move on to the next play. Okay, next play. Start the video. Remember, we're talking about phases. Look at the bottom, we have good space. So we don't have to necessarily stare at the receiver. That's 2 or 3 steps he's going to take before he gets contacted. So we have time to kind of peep and see, is the quarterback going to throw this way or is he going to throw the other way? We have time before we need to get on it. And then we have a catch, possibly. And we have a body part down, possibly. And then what are we going to talk about on this play? Now, here's a play we got it boxed in between the side judge and the head linesman. So when we have it boxed in, we both pretty much have the same look. So it'd probably be a good idea if we took a peep at each other before we gave a signal. We don't want to have conflicting signals. We both, in this play, both the head linesman and side judge gave a touchdown signal. All right. So let's get a poll up there. Let's throw a poll. Okay. There's the poll, and we're going to show a video. Actually, I want to go to my slides and click the slide. So in this play, since the receiver clearly demonstrated firm control and he has a body part down, as you see, look, he has his hand down in the end zone, touching in the end zone, and he has firm control. So the poll, what we're asking everyone is, since the receiver demonstrated firm control and got a body part down in the end zone, what is it? Is this a touchdown? Or might it be a touchdown, which kind of leads us to think we might need a little bit more information before making that decision. And this is an interesting result here. We got interesting results coming in. Gosh, I should have pulled up my rule reference sheet from, oh, here you go. I can pull up real quick. My rule reference sheet from session 1, because we're going to need it here. I'm getting ready to close the voting. I'm going to end the poll. 50, this is 50-50. So we need to go back and review what a catch is. Because what we need to realize here is this player is going to the ground. So when he's going to the ground, he must maintain firm control of the ball through the ground. And that's what we say, he has to keep catching the ball through the ground. So right here, it's not quite a touchdown yet. It might be a touchdown, but if the ball pops out as he rolls over, we have to make that an incomplete pass. If the defender rips that ball out right here as he's starting to roll out of bounds, we have to make that an incomplete pass. He has not completed the process of the catch until he survives the ground. And that's very important to understand on plays like this when the receiver is going to the ground. The play is not over right here, as we see on the screenshot. The play is over when the play is over, meaning he gets up and demonstrates that he still has firm control of the ball after surviving the ground. So where's the catch? Rule 2-4-3 for our 50% of the people out here in the stratosphere. All right, next play. Here we go. Press man at the top. We're going to be locked in. Pass is bringing us to the end line. Looks like the official is coming off of the goal line and moving towards the end line. All right, then we're going to have an ISO shot, ISO replay. And I wish I could pause this video, but I can't, unfortunately. So there we have it. Let's take a poll. Let's take a poll. and see what we think here. There's the question, and I'm gonna replay the video so you can kind of look while you're making your decision on how you want to vote here. The question is, before making his ruling, the side judge needs to look to the back judge, or the side judge does not need to look to the back judge. I'm gonna figure out how to stop this video. One day I'm gonna figure it out. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll. 71% of us said the side judge needs to check with the back judge to make sure the catch was secured. Some of us said he needs to check with the back judge since the end line was threatened. And then 10% of us said the side judge does not need to check with the back judge. Well, let's go to the video. And I'm gonna tell you some things to look for as we look at the video. So one thing you need to look for is firm control. Look for a foot or body part down inbounds. If you see that, then the inline issue is irrelevant. And then pay attention to the receiver's body and where the back judge would be and what he could see as the receiver goes to the ground with the ball in his hand. The ISO replay should give it all away for you. So here's the slow-mo ISO replay, body part down middle of the end zone, the end line. Look where the ball is, look where the back is, and look where the back judge would be looking. So would the back judge really have information on the catch? The back judge is looking at the receiver's back. So again, we need to think about what can our partner officials help us with? And in that situation, he really can't help us with the catch process because we have the best angle as a side judge in that situation. The back judge is looking at the receiver's back. There's no way he knows what's going on with the ball. That's very important to understand that when we're trying to put all of this stuff together. Who can help? What angle do they have? What do they see? What do I see? Play 5 and 6, we're gonna kind of look at it together. Both videos are back judges working these end lines. We're gonna get another replay of it. Back judge is in perfect position. Great job evaluating everything, and I'm gonna show a still shot of that later. But here's an end zone replay shot. And we're gonna have another shot of it. Now remember, Sunday we were talking about keys and initial keys and all of that. Well, this was the field judges or side judges. I don't know which one that is. Initial key. But that's not the way it turned out. So that's a situation right there. Now let's look at another play by the back judge. Where we have an inline being threatened. And do we know if somebody can help us out here, or do we even need help? Some of these plays, we don't need help. So who has the best shot of seeing that catch process? It certainly ain't this dude who's running in with an S on his back. He can't see the catch process. He might have saw the feet, but he certainly didn't see anything with the catch. Now, let me ask a question. Let me go back. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. In play 5, this is the one in the Texas Tech game. With what foot did the receiver touch the ground? And I'm not gonna go back and show it to you. And there's a reason why. Here comes the votes. I'm gonna show it to you after we end the poll. I'm not going to show it to you while we're doing the poll. This is a closed book test. This is not an open book test on this one. Oh, yeah, I like that. Okay, we're starting to level off a little bit, so I think I'm going to end the poll here. Bam. Look at that. Is it the right foot? Is it the left foot? Oh, really, I wasn't even paying attention. So why is that important? Why is that important? If we're going to come bring information from another position, we need to bring factual information and we need to bring good information. If for some unknown reason the back judge needs our help right here, or for some unknown reason he decides that this is out of bounds, as a field judge, what we can bring, and you saw right there, the right foot is the one that touched the ground first. So everybody who said right foot, you win a prize. I don't know what we're gonna give you. Give you something. As a field judge, if we're going to bring information, we need to bring good information. And we can see, right? We can see what foot hit the ground. We have no idea what's going on with the ball, right? Because again, look, we're looking at the back of the receiver. So we can't see the ball. But guess who can see the ball? Bam! He's right on it. And you know what else he saw before he saw the ball? Bam! He saw that right foot hit the ground in the end zone. Not the left foot, the right foot. Back judge all over it. Very good job. Awesome work. And then really just to reiterate, if we're going to bring information from over here, Mr. Field Judge, and you want to run over there to bring information, bring factual information, bring good information. If he says he's out of bounds, you say, oh, wait a minute. I have his right foot in bounds. And then now we can start having a discussion beyond that. But don't run over there and say, well, I think he might have been in bounds. No, that's useless information at that point in time. Come over there with strong factual information. His right foot hit in bounds. All right. We got one last play, and this play is a doozy. First, we're going to run. Do I have the entire play? I should have the entire play on here. We're going to run through the entire play, and then we're going to go back and break the play down into elements. Get this stuff off the screen, clear the screen. Oh, boy. Now we got a conversation. Man, what's going on? Now we come out with a signal. All right, let's break this play down a little bit. Let's go to the slides. And the first thing we want to look at is pre-snap. Oh, shoot. That's not what I want to look at. Where's my pre-snap slide? Okay, well, we're going to have to run a video and trust that I know what I'm doing here, even though it appears that I do not. Notice when I start this video, notice where the receiver is, notice where the defender is, notice where how wide his split is. So we're starting to think about a lot of things here. What type of routes can he run at this point? We're trying to get as much information as we can before we get to the point where, man, now I got to think about what he actually did on the play. So before that, we can start putting some things in our head. All right. Look at the split of the receiver, look at the defender, and then I want to ask a question. Let's go to the polls. Go to the polls. So based on our pre-snap read, what element of phase one is most important? Based on our pre-snap read, let me try to get us back to our pre-snap read too. Let's see if it's going to let me do it. There it is. I hope it's paused at the right moment on your screen. It's paused in my screen right at the beginning. So there's our pre-snap read. What element is most important at this point in time? We got. All right, let's go to the polls. We're going to end the poll. Good. So we're snapping from, where were we snapping from? Shoot, that was it inside the 5? I can't remember where we were snapping from. Let's see where we were snapping from. We were snapping from, yeah, we snapping from the 2-yard line. That's what I thought. Inside the 5-yard line. So going back to our poll, if we look at what elements are important, come on. The action between the A players and the B players, 78% of us said that, and then the other 21% said ball trajectory. Well, one issue that we have when we get close to the end zone, and I don't know why that's up. One issue that we have when we get close to the end zone is everything happens really quickly. So if we're in press man, if the defender can reach out and touch the wide receiver, we really need to be locked in. We really need to be focused right there. And if we're that tight to the line of scrimmage, I mean, to the goal line where it's 2 yards away, then the quarterback is probably a lot closer than we're used to from a deep official perspective. Now we're on the end line, so we're only 12 yards away from the line of scrimmage. That's a lot closer than it normally is. So we probably may not be able to peep out of our peripheral vision to see what exactly is about to happen with the pass. So in this instance, the most important element of this anticipation phase, what we need to anticipate is something is going to happen with these players, and I better watch and I better know exactly what happens with these players before we get to the point where we're into the catch phase. Okay, so let's take a look from the beginning, and this is going to go fast because I'm going to break it into a bunch of elements, and hopefully this video cooperates with me. Boom. Phase 1 is pretty much over at that point, right? Right? Why is phase 1 over at that point? Because the ball is there, right? Let's go to a still shot, the still shot that we've been looking at forever. You can't see the ball on this screen, but the ball is pretty much right here. So at this point, phase 1 is over. So if right now, if this side judge is thinking about, man, I think he grabbed his arm, I think he pushed him, I think he, you know, if you're still thinking about that, you're probably too late for what's coming next. So get that information out, process it, store it somewhere in your memory bank, and lock it away for right now, because we need to work on the next part, which is the catch. So let's say right now, for example, let's say here in when we're playing with the defender and the receiver, let's say the defender is grabbing his arm exactly at this moment. He probably was grabbing it beforehand. If he was grabbing it a few steps before, that means the ball was not quite there. That means we have not actually started the catch process. That means we probably do have a foul for defensive pass interference. And who would have the best view at that? Our back judge would have a perfect look at it from his perspective. But if the defender just now, as the ball is getting right here, started grabbing the wide receiver's arm, well, we're into the catch process. The ball is about to hit his hand. So remember we talked about bang, bang, and timing and all of that? Well, there is no defensive pass interference during the process of the catch. And right now, we're pretty much starting the process of the catch. So let's look and let's let it play. Let it play. I ran it back a little bit further, and now we're getting into the catch part. And you see what body part hit. Did his body part hit inbounds? Did his body part not hit inbounds? What body part hit inbounds first? And that's what we need to think about. And what we see is he has his elbows on the ground. So he got a body part inbound. Did he have firm control of the ball? That's the other thing that we have to think about. Remember the catch, there's a whole bunch of elements that we need to think about with the catch. And here's the other thing. He's going to the ground, right? So what does that mean? That means he needs to survive the ground. He needs to complete the process of the catch, and he needs to survive the ground, meaning when he gets up, he better be able to show us the ball. If he can't show us the ball, then he did not survive the ground. Okay, let's go on. See, right now we're nearing the end of phase 2. And then what are we going to see next? We're going to go into our phase 3. All right, let's see. Did he still has firm control? Still has firm control. Now he's showing us the ball. Okay. Whew. All right. Now what we got? Phase 3 is when we start putting it all together, right? So the last 2 videos that we watched were only about what, 2 seconds each. Now remember, everything happens within the blink of an eye. So we have to be able to process this stuff and understand everything that quickly. It's just that quickly. So now we're gonna get into our phase 3 where we're trying to figure out, okay, well, who can help me? Is anybody out there that can help me? Do I need help? You know, we looked at a couple of other plays where we didn't really need help. So let's throw a poll up there. Let's ask a question. I'm gonna start the poll. I'm gonna publish the poll. I think the video may have gone off your screen. That's okay, don't worry about it. I'm not showing anything, I'm just showing the poll right now. So after the play was over, why was the S looking to the B? Didn't we just talk about where, you know, I don't need help from him, I got it myself and all this other stuff? Why was the S looking to the B? Here's our poll numbers coming in. All right, I'm getting ready to end the poll. A few more votes. Bam. So 86% of us said the side judge was looking to the back judge because he needed to make sure the receiver maintained firm control of the ball throughout the process. We got 8% of us said he wanted to make sure the receiver was in bounds, and then 5% of us said he needs to own this play. He needs to own this call and just make the call. All right, let's take a look at a few of our slides that we were looking at earlier. This is the first to answer the question about he needs to make sure the side judge was looking to the back judge to make sure the receiver was in bounds. We have to trust as a back judge that our side judge can see this player in bounds. If he can't see that player being in bounds from right there, then he's probably not the person that needs to be working this game. And I hate to say it like that, but it is what it is. Sometimes we have to be able to officiate to a level that we expect the call to be made when it's somewhat obvious. And this is pretty obvious. The receiver is clearly in bounds, and we have to have the side judge understand that. So he's not looking to figure out, was the receiver in bounds? What is the side judge looking at? Remember, we talked a couple of plays ago when we were asking about who can help, who can help, who can help. Well, look what the side judge is looking at. He's looking at the receiver's back, and the ball is right here. There is literally no way, unless the side judge is Superman and he has, can't Superman see through buildings and stuff like that? Well, unless the side judge has superhuman vision where he can see through players, he cannot see the ball. So the only information that the side judge definitively has at this point is that the receiver was in bounds. He does not know anything else. All he knows is the receiver was in bounds. So he's looking to a person that probably does know, did the ball hit the ground? Did the receiver maintain firm control of the ball? And that, in this case, would be the back judge, because he's looking straight up the line, looking straight down at the ball, and he has a perfect view. And then we can get together. We can have a conversation. Where's our conversation? Let's look at our conversation again. We can get together in our little phase 3 when we're putting everything together. If I'm the side judge, I'm like, okay, I know he was in bounds, but dang, I don't know if that ball, I don't know what happened with the ball. Let me see what my man does. Let me see what my man does. And then we get together. We have a little conversation. Okay, and then we both confirm what we have, and then we go up with a touchdown signal. So hopefully what the things I covered, I know I went a little long today. Geez, 55 minutes. That's a little too long, but okay. Hopefully some of these the concept that I shared about phases and completing phases in order to get to the ultimate goal of making our decisive judgment and making a signal. Hopefully that some of that stuff made sense, and hopefully we can understand where can we get help from our partner officials, depending on what angles they have, and also most importantly, when we're looking at film and we're looking at video, let's be extremely specific on the things that we see and the things that we describe. His right foot hit down in bounds. His left elbow touched down while he had firm control of the ball with his right hand. Practice doing that kind of thing. So if and when you are called on to help, you're able to give specific information that can help your partner official or help whoever make the correct call. And I'm gonna stop talking, Brandon. I apologize. I'm sure we have a million questions. Let's go.
No, great job. Just great content and great plays. We persevered through the video and it turned out great. Yeah. Okay, so we had some themes come up to the questions. So, I'll kind of address the themes. So this is kind of a detailed question, but talk about your opinion on, like, play one, you're on the pylon as the deep official there.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, it's kind of a good question that we don't talk too much about. Discuss your positioning on upright versus squatting. It's kind of a funny question, but nonetheless, give us your take.
So, and that's just a total personal thing. Do you like Whataburger or do you like Wendy's? I know everybody in Texas is probably going to send hate mail to my house, but I don't eat Whataburger. I eat Wendy's. And it's just a personal preference. I personally stand upright because when I stand upright, that's the way I start, and that's the way I want to finish. I don't want to move any part of my body if I don't have to throughout the play. I only want to use my brain and my eyes maybe moving a little bit. I want to find the position that I can get in that allows me to totally evaluate the play without moving a muscle. So me personally, I start upright and I stay upright throughout the process. But there are times when officials do squat, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's just a personal preference.
We had a plug for In-N-Out too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the West Coast, absolutely. In-N-Out crushes all of that.
Nobody likes Wendy's that much.
No.
All right. So again, on play one, so you addressed all of this in terms of getting help from partner officials coming in to help. There was just a lot of questions. What about the line of scrimmage official on play one? As the deep official there, do you want help from the line of scrimmage? What do you expect? If you two are working, as you build a partnership on that sideline, how do you set expectations relative to working those plays, especially that play? I mean, there's so much going on there. So maybe address that. Yes,
really good question. So in my opinion, and again, this presentation was developed by Tuta, is not developed by anybody in any position of authority. This is my opinion.
Right.
I would prefer not to turn around to look at another official to quote unquote confirm or get information on a judgment that I'm about to make. If my back or my side or pretty much my body is not facing the official, if I turn to him, that really does not look confident at all. And I'm displaying body language and body posture, and I'm telling the world that I really don't know what I'm doing, because I have to turn around and ask my partner what just happened. Now, if I have the play boxed in, as we saw, I think that was play 3, the head linesman and side judge had a play happen directly in front of him. If we're looking at each other through the players, well, now we can talk and we can have a conversation, because now we both saw things from different angles and we're facing each other and we have the play boxed in. But the angle that the head linesman had 10 yards away, and the angle that the side judge had right there on top of the play, they both really would have the same look. It's just that the side judge just didn't necessarily work the play correctly and didn't really see the feet and what order the feet hit in. And of course, that's a tough play. But I guess the main thing that I'm getting to is I would not prefer to turn and look to another official who's kind of behind me, because then it just makes it look like I'm not sure of myself.
Yeah. So great information. By the way, before we forget, we will absolutely send out the phases document. Looks like that your preparation to share, your ideas on the phases went over really well. So if people want to see that, so we can share that.
All right, I was nervous about how people will receive that.
No, it's very well done. By the way, we're gonna have a deeper presentation, more content around catch no catch coming up. So this is kind of prelude.
Yes.
So but with that said, let's talk about a couple more concepts. So a lot of discussion in the chat. Play 3, simultaneous possession, and I know we're going to talk about catch no catch, but we might as well address it here.
Okay.
What do we look for simultaneous possession? We can bring Daniel in on this too, but talk about the different factors leading us to a ruling of simultaneous possession or not.
Right. Okay. First thing, I don't believe there's any such thing as simultaneous possession. That'll be the first and quickest answer I can give. The next thing, if we look at this particular play, and let me see if I can find the play. We'll just replay it all the way up to the point. Who had the ball when they were up in the air? Who first firmly got control of the ball in the air? It'll be the receiver, the A player. So then when they come to the ground, if the A player still has firm control of the ball, or if the B player now has dual firm control of the ball with the A player, well, the A player initially had it, and then we're going to, of course, give the ball to the offense. But what I would like to see is when they hit the ground, whoever comes up with the ball, then we need to start determining, okay, well, what happened on the play prior to this person coming up with the ball? And in this play, remember, we talked about the receiver needing to survive the ground. If some kind of way the defender just immediately came up with the ball, well, then the receiver probably didn't survive the ground. If the defender is wrestling with the receiver and then he comes up with the ball, well, the receiver probably did survive the ground. He probably had firm control of the ball when he got to the ground and when he finished on the ground before the defender wrestled it away from him. So I guess I'm kind of beating around the bush, but in general, I don't believe there's any such thing as dual possession.
Simultaneous, yeah.
Simultaneous. Sorry, I lost my word.
No.
Yeah.
It's all right. So, and we've sent the playlist out. On play 3, simultaneous possession wouldn't even register as a factor for that play. Daniel, I think Daniel's still with us. Talk about, just overall simultaneous possession. Let's just nail this one right now so there's no more confusion.
Yeah, absolutely. Good topic. I think it's one of those things that we want to discuss because it scares us a little bit, right? Because when you're on the field and you're making that distinction, man, that's a tough call. So it makes us a little uncomfortable. So we want to hash it out. But I think Tutah's initial point that it just doesn't exist is a really good one. I don't like to, live in absolutes, but if you're under the impression that you've made that call multiple times in your career, I would just encourage you to dig into it a little bit and figure out what we're really talking about, because even by rule for simultaneous possession, really looking for 4 hands with firm control on a football. And then also they have to have something in bounds at the same time, right? Because we have to have possession and a foot or body part on the ground in bounds. So for that to happen simultaneously, like that's the stars aligning. So very rarely are we going to see that happen. And I like the idea of like, if we're going down that thought process, let's let them battle it out and see who wins.
Well, Daniel, not only that, and to jump on that, if we got 4 hands on the ball and then we get a body part from each of the players on the ground, they're probably going to end up falling to the ground, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Which
And they've
means-
got to
which
come
means-
down at the same time. Remember, simultaneously, that body part.
Exactly. And then when they get to the ground, they both have to survive the ground also to have simultaneous possession, right?
Yes, a great point. So now they both have to survive the ground. Yeah.
Exactly. So we got to have firm control by two players in the air with four hands. Then we both have to have a simultaneous body part hit the ground, both players at the same time. Then they have to both go to the ground, and they both have to survive the ground at the same time and still maintain simultaneous possession. You said it much better than I could have. But yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
good.
and then think about so now we have an airborne player of the offense controlling the ball in the air, going to the ground. Talk about the difference when the defense rips the ball out. Okay, so obviously we're not even talking about simultaneous. And Daniel, we're probably stealing your thunder on catch no catch.
Yeah,
But
we'll
these
just
different things can happen.
let's just skip this and we'll talk about that in 2 weeks. Come on back. We'll leave them with a hook.
Perfect.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, I kind of like what you did there.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I think Tuta hit the nail on the head in his session. There was a time where we used to use language like completing the process of the catch, and that's not necessarily inaccurate, but because we're officials and we like to be told exactly how to make a decision, whatever happens, we got into this deal where we were letting guys roll around on the ground 7 times, and then maybe on the 8th roll, the ball would pop out and we're wiping it out because he's got to maintain possession throughout this whole thing, which just didn't apply a lot of common sense. So the shift has been now, and again, Tuta nailed this, where really what we want to happen is for them to survive the ground, right? If we can hit the ground, maintain firm control, which doesn't disqualify us from allowing a little movement, but maintain firm control, and then a defender rips it, or, I'm getting up and my knee hits the ball and it pops it out. We've survived that part of going to the ground, and we're going to roll that as a catch. I don't know, Tuta, if that makes sense in your mind, but that's how I kind of feel.
Absolutely. And I guess I brought the still shot back up on play 3. At this point in time, you can see the defender really has no part of the ball. And the receiver is pretty much he's to the point where he's made 2 elements of the catch process. So he's almost done. Now, if the defender can rip that ball out right here, if he just rips that ball out, well, clearly the receiver did not survive the ground. But we ended up seeing in this play, and I think I have the ending video to it, the ending part, and it only shows that part, so y'all don't have to worry about me messing up the video anymore. What we see is the defender roll over, still maintaining firm control, and then the defender starts getting his second hand on the ball to possibly be able to try to rip the ball out. But what we saw is that the receiver rolled over with firm control of the ball after hitting the ground.
Great example.
What else we got, Brandon? Anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. So, we
went
can
to
go all
sleep?
night.
Come on, man, wake up.
It was a mute issue. Can I pull that excuse out?
No.
It's a long session.
So let's digress on catch, no catch, and go back. So we have another really good question. Discuss your opinion. You're on the back corner of the end zone.
Yes.
45 angle versus sideline extended versus end line extended. When do you move? When do you not? So talk about that. So
good question. I personally am on a 45-degree angle I guess I'm not. I used to be because I'm a referee now. I'm on a 45-degree angle about 2 to 3 yards off the pylon. And if possible, and we kind of made mention this earlier about when we were squatting versus standing upright, if possible, I don't want to move at all. I want to get to a position where I can evaluate the play without worrying about getting hit by the players and knowing that I can have the best view of whatever line I need to work with, whether it be the end line, whether it be the sideline. So in general, I like to be 45 degrees and I don't want to move. If I need to move, I will. I'll let the play dictate it. But in general, I would prefer not to move.
All right, perfect. All right, that about does it. You know, if you have any, you can find our email address on the website. So if we missed your question inadvertently, we apologize, but I think we're going to wrap it up for the night. Great job, Tuta. You know, send us off into the night with some final comments.
Yeah, just appreciate everybody again and for showing up. I know it's we need to get our minds off of some of the other things that's going on in the world, and we all just love to talk football, and it's just a great forum and a great opportunity for us to talk football. Don't miss tomorrow night. Daniel Young is going to be talking about officiating run plays from a deep official perspective. It promises to be a very good session. Daniel Young is one of the most well-spoken orator, I don't know how you say that word, orator, whatever, that I know. I'm sure we're going to enjoy it.
It was great how you messed up the word orator as you were trying to explain how well-spoken he was. All right. Good night, everybody.
All right.